When shit goes wrong in the salon, ... Here's the thing. What are the things that can go wrong? And then what do you do about it? We're going to talk to Tracey about this right now on the Biz Talk. I know that shit goes wrong like in a business on a regular daily basis because I run a business, right?
Right.
And like doing it for so long, you come to accept the fact it is inevitable. There are things that happen in a business where it goes wrong, man.
Yep.
You cannot avoid it.
Nope.
I admit this. This is hard for me to admit, okay? But I know nothing about the things that go wrong in the salon. That's a rarity, Tracey, because I typically know everything, as you know very well. I know everything, right?
This would be one of those things that go wrong.
I need guidance, actually,
Guidance,
from
really
you.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable in my own skin.
You have to get comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, I'm very comfortable in my socks, by the way. Do you like them?
It's very summery. I wish it was summer. I'm not sure about your socks, though.
I know, but I don't think people, I think people just see the color and then they don't really, they're like, oh, cool socks. And then I'm like, hey, thanks.
You guys, well, now you can really pay attention. He always has weird socks on.
Yes.
Very strange.
Yeah. TJ Maxx, inexpensive. I love it. The Hunt. It's awesome. Okay.
Speaking of all this, did you see the comment on the last vlog or the Biz Talk?
No.
About patience?
No.
And someone's comment was, you're all trying my patience by not getting to the point.
Sorry.
And then she's like, oh,
Okay.
just laughing. You know, she's like, just joking, love you.
You know what?
I died laughing. I thought that was so funny.
That is hilarious because it's true. And on that, let's get to the point.
Yes.
Okay. Apologies. We can just go off on tangents. You see what happens on a day-to-day basis here. It's ridiculous. Can't get anything done sometimes. Okay. What are the things, I'm really curious, like, what are the things that happen in a salon where it just can fall apart? Things that go wrong? Like, I mean, my God, I'm sure it's endless, but like, what are the things that stand out for you? And hopefully people that are new and you're just getting in the business, this will help you, like, you know, prepare. Like, this is coming. There's no way to avoid it. What are we talking about?
I think the number one thing is people that not showing up late.
Okay, clients
Number one.
showing up late.
Yeah.
Now, I know that probably didn't happen very long with you because she looks nice on the outside. Let me tell you.
Oh, sweetheart.
She is hardcore. So how did you solve that problem? Clients coming in late, you're just getting started. I could see that. That's tough.
It is tough, and especially once you start building your clientele, you don't have room anymore. Like when you know there's no one before them or no after them, you're like, okay, well at least they showed up and I'm happy. But
okay, I see what you're saying.
But once you guilt the clientele, there is no room for people being late.
Okay, so are you saying though, Trace, that leading up to having a full clientele, you'd let it slide?
No.
Okay,
No.
but that's what it sounded like you were saying.
No, I'm just saying as you get fuller, it's definitely vital that you start setting, and it's important to set the guidelines
from the beginning. Right.
Don't get yourself in trouble because you're setting the tempo. I guess you're setting your rules right from the beginning. So yeah, it's important to do.
Okay, and how? Give me an example of that. Like how do you lay that down after one person, two people? Like when you realize, like, okay, I got to lay the law down because this is an issue.
Yeah. So for me, everything was always on. My pricing and also my policies were out on my desk.
Okay.
In a frame. Nowadays, you have different options, and I can get to that. But it was very simple. 10 minutes late, you might not get something done, and I probably was gonna kind of make sure you didn't get something done.
Yeah.
15 minutes.
You've talked about this now. I remember.
Done, yeah. You're done. I mean,
going.
we don't have time, so I'm not going to do you, and you have to pay for that appointment you missed.
Right. But and you'd say it nicely.
Yes, and this was not like first offense kind of situation.
Right.
This is, you have to let people know, especially if they didn't read it. But hey, Habib, you showed up late today.
I don't show up late, Tracey. Continue.
But, cool. We're going to get as much as possible done, but just, in the future, because I have someone after you and we want to respect everybody's time, just like the person in front of you. Could you just, make sure you're here on time?
I don't care what what if somebody like gave you lip and was, I'm sure you've had people.
Really nice meeting you.
Well, here's the thing. You don't have to worry about me because I am on time. Like, I'm really on time. I'm like obsessed with being on time. Maybe not with you, but just with my own top priorities.
Habib is 5 minutes, which means 2 hours.
Well, if we have to have a conversation about something, this is true.
Yes.
But if I have to be somewhere, like actually,
you are on time. Yes.
I'm always on time. I can't I'm at 8 hours early at the airport. It's like my flight's at 8 and I'm there at midnight camping out.
Very true.
So okay. That's good. That helps.
Yeah.
Give some guidance.
And
what else?
Then I also had a 3-time strike.
Okay.
You did that 3 times
Did you actually write the strike somewhere? Like you have a little strike book?
I actually had a book, and yes,
you had a strike book.
Yes, I did.
Was it called strike book with a bowling pin on the front?
It was in there. My schedule.
Okay.
Yeah.
By their name.
Yep.
I
actually had a good memory when it came to that kind of stuff.
Well, I think when somebody I know which one of my friends are late.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
you know the friend to tell. Oh, your appointment's at 11:30 when it's at noon.
Okay. I like it. Problem, solution, what to do about it. Great solution. Ultimately, get out of your comfort zone, communicate with your clients. A lot of people don't want to do that. They're like, I don't want to. Dude, you're in business. Yeah. If you're in business, you have to have uncomfortable conversations with your customers, with your vendors, with your employees. It's called transparency and being open and talking about money, talking about being late, all this stuff. You have to do
Everybody has policies. Wherever you go, there's policies.
And but communicating them, I'm telling you, I'm talking about even business owners outside of the nail industry, Tracey, they don't communicate. Yeah. Like they don't want to have these conversations.
Then you don't have a right to get upset.
Right.
Either
I agree.
Don't get upset about it and you're cool with it, or you have an open conversation.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next one. What else you got?
Let's see. So that would go right into no-shows. Okay. Same kind of thing. Same kind of policies.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that would piss me off. If somebody... I don't like it. I mean, obviously, nobody likes a no-show. But, dude, talk about wasting your time.
Right. And especially, when I've forgotten appointments before when I'm starting maybe a doctor's appointment or something like that. But when you go to someone on a regular basis every 2 to 3 weeks and you have a standing appointment, you know when your appointment is.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so that kind of goes, I agree with you. That kind of goes with late, like same thing, communicate. What about, I've kind of thought of something.
Let's think.
Okay. What about you open your drawer and you don't have product?
That was another one.
Okay.
It happens, especially when you have people that like to borrow things. So it was really normal to show up after your day off and
everything's gone.
Like, where? I know this was full. Like, what the heck happened?
Seriously?
Yeah, for sure.
Would they text you and say, "Hey, I'm going to borrow your"?
No, we had this. They would say, "I asked you out loud, and you said you were okay with it." Like
Habib, I emailed you, kind of a thing.
Yeah. And I was okay with it as long as I had product to work with.
Right.
And especially when I started doing distribution, this became even a bigger problem because it was like, oh,
you have product.
Yeah, you got product, and
who cares that it costs you money?
And then they forget to replace it. But yeah, that's a huge problem in Salon. Borrowing.
So what do you
replacing?
Okay, so what do you do?
You have another open conversation.
Yeah.
Like either one, I have no problem with you borrowing as long as it's replaced and I have product to work with, or 2, do not go in my drawers at all.
Yeah.
And I've been there with people. You cannot get into my stuff because you do not replace it.
Right. It's kind of like Greg always borrowing my things I do. No, it's not like he's borrowing product, but like he's trying to be like me.
Like
and he
yes.
borrows the things that I do. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, bro, stop biting my style. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Tracey sees it. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Anyway.
So I have to have a conversation with him.
Open conversation with Greg. Right after this.
Yes. So he's going to beat me as soon as it's over. Okay. So like
he's laying down on the couch.
I know. It's why it's great.
You guys should see this. He is totally laying down on the couch on his phone.
He is. He's getting comfortable right now too.
Yes.
Okay. So again, we get to having conversations, being very transparent. I know this seems obvious, but it is not easy to do.
Yeah.
Like, having these types of conversations, if you don't have them, you're going to hold resentment. You're going to be like angry in the salon. Your clients are going to feel it. You're not communicating with the other people.
Yeah.
Borrow my stuff, fine. But I could totally see that, like opening the drawer and it's like, dude, there's nothing there for me to work. So
I meant to replace it, whatever.
So let me ask you this though. What would you do in that moment? Like, there's no product. Obviously, they have no product because they're borrowing yours. Like, what do you do?
Fortunately, we had multiple girls that worked in Salon.
Okay.
So usually I would borrow from someone else, and as soon as I had a break, I would head to the supply store.
You'd bolt, get what you needed to get by or whatever. And
fortunately, I plan ahead a lot.
Yeah.
So I always had stock.
Some back stock somewhere.
Yeah, usually.
Hiding it from the thieves.
Yeah. Usually, my core product, I always had double, triple supply of. But what I would really run into the issue was with my art stuff, glitters and things like that.
Okay.
And there were standard stuff that I used.
Yeah.
Or files. Jeez.
Yep.
And I thought I'd stockpile on files, but they would just disappear quickly.
I could see that being... I could just really see that happening. I mean, it's busy. You have a client. You're like, I need this. You go and you borrow it. Just communicate.
Yeah.
What else, Tracey? Those seem like they're very real. They happen. People are probably listening going, oh my God, I experienced that. Let's try to get a few more in there just to help the newbies.
I had no small human policy, which I think we've talked about before.
Yes.
And people would show up with their kids.
Kids. Kids.
That's difficult.
I think I've put this on Twitter or Facebook or our community. We've put it out there, and there's a lot of people that are like, it's kind of mixed.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people say, I'm cool with kids. I've seen probably more have said no. Just because.
There's liability. There's the fact that everybody's trying to relax. Your client is preoccupied with their child. If they're running around, yes, you have to stop doing their nails and they need to go get their kid. So it's just all the way around. You're going to be running late.
Okay.
And it can cause... Every once in a while, you have that kid that just no problem. Like your kids. Your kids. Actually, your kids are great. They come in, they have their iPad, and you wouldn't even know they're here.
I think most kids today, you put an iPad in front of them, they're going to be pretty good.
That's true. Maybe it's a different age.
But let's go down this road a little bit. So you have a policy, but your client walks in and says, Tracey, I'm sorry, I didn't have a choice. Like that happens, right? When you're parenting, you got little ones. Like sometimes that happens. So what happens? They walk in the door and they're like, I'm so sorry. I didn't have a choice. Like I'd have to miss my appointment. What do you do?
So I wouldn't make them leave. It was very like, we're going to put a chair right next to yours. If your child cannot behave, or, you say this nicely, cannot behave, and it's disturbing other people, you're going to have to leave.
Yeah.
And reschedule and also pay for this. So
right.
And I understand because I had a kid, so I totally understand.
Yeah, that does happen. I mean, weird shit happens when you have children, like unexpected, obviously. So I could just see that.
And it should always, you have in any of these circumstances, you have the one or two people that abuse it.
Right.
Yeah.
That they keep coming with their kids. Okay, so in that situation, what are you doing? Like one more time, and it's like, are you doing the the strike
you
book?
You cannot come with your child again.
Yeah.
No offense, your kid's adorable, love them to death. Cannot bring them again.
Yeah.
So that's it.
What if the kid's really good, and they keep bringing them?
If they're really good, I might turn a blind. I don't see them. I don't see them. And if they are, why? That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, talking about situations that can happen, I've had where the babysitter calls me or the school calls me and I'm in the middle of a client. And the kids, there was a situation that RJ was being babysat and the other kid was flipping their lid.
Wow.
Not RJ, the other kid. And threatening. And I mean, it was a bad situation.
Yeah.
This is the only time I've ever done this. I looked at my client and I said, I am so sorry. I have to leave.
Yeah.
And that was it. She was totally cool, but so I understand it from both sides.
Of course.
Things happen.
Of course. Let's get one more in there, Trace. What's one more situation? Actually, let me ask you this, because I think this is real. What about tension amongst, let's say you have tension with another tech in the salon. Yeah. You're trying to mind your own business, but it's tense and it's real every day. Like, how do you deal with that situation when you're going to work and you got to deal with this person and she don't like you, you don't like her, and like that's not a good feeling. Like, how do you deal with that?
No, because a lot of times, if you're like us, you're at work more than you're at home. So
Right.
you have tension constantly. And I've been around people like that, very nice some days, another day you go in and you're like, oh, I have to walk on eggshells today.
Right.
Now, typically for me, if I had tension with someone, that meant everybody probably was having tension with them.
Correct.
So we actually had to have a conversation with the salon
Once
owner.
again.
Yeah. Open communication, because I can't work like that.
Totally.
Now, what I have also seen is tension between clients and tensions between a client and another nail tech, because a lot of times these are small worlds, especially when you live in a small town.
Right. And so there's some drama going on outside of the salon. You happen to run each other in the salon.
Yeah.
So that I can see maybe is manageable, of like, look, you just come in, get your nails done.
You try to keep them separate, but I did have to talk to one lady and tell her that she wasn't allowed to come into the salon anymore.
Really?
Yeah, because of tension between her and one of the nail techs in my salon, and
just stern,
and she couldn't behave. So it was,
you got to go.
You got to go.
Okay.
We're not going to deal with that.
Okay. So this is a common theme that obviously I think is applicable not only to the salon but to any business, which is communicate. If there's an issue, if there's a problem, whether it's with other people in the salon, with a client who's late, no show, there's tension, like Tracey's saying, taking your products, you have to communicate. End of story. And as uncomfortable as that may be, there's no way around it. I have to do it. I learned to do that early on my career here at Young Nails with just collecting money. I've talked about this before. It was awful, horrible experience. Got through it, got comfortable with it. Now I'm like, I pride myself in being a very open communicator. Right. Anything we want to talk about, let's lay it down. Yeah. So
I think I've had 2 difficult conversations today and probably three emails.
Yeah.
And what I've found that helps me is how once it's over, if you just tackle it right then, it's done.
Absolutely.
And you can that relief afterwards. Otherwise, you're just holding on to it.
Yeah, it's a release. And also, you've gotten one step closer to actually resolving something. So you got to do it. Let us know what other situations, does the shit hit the fan for you in the salon. Please talk about it in the comments. I'd love to get that type of engagement because it might help somebody else that's experiencing the same issue. With that, I want to say thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you next time on the Biz Talk.